Hey, welcome to the Strong Roots podcast. My name is Kristin Hill, and we are so excited that you're tuning in today. Our prayer is that you would move one step closer to Jesus through this series. So go ahead and check out this next episode. Hey, Strong Roots, we're here in our marriage conversation season. This is our last one. This is Zachary and Blair. They are an amazing couple who love Jesus and live on mission for him. So I am so excited to ask you guys about marriage. You've been married 1 year?
Yeah, 1 year and 2 months, 3 months, whatever.
Some months.
Yeah.
Yes. So who pursued who in the relationship?
Who pursued who?
So I would say I had my eyes on Zachary first. For sure. I was like, at Next Gen, I saw him preaching on stage. I was like, wow, that guy is really cool. He's awesome. And then as I watched him more, I was like, wow, that's my standard of a man. Like,
Yeah.
I would rather be single than to not marry someone like Zachary, or just Zachary. Like, he was my new standard. So then I definitely had my eyes on him, but I knew that I wanted a guy to pursue me first. Like, that was one thing that was like, I don't want to pursue him. I don't even want him to know that I like him or have my eyes on him. I just want him to pursue me first.
Yeah, I love hearing that story. It's such a confidence booster.
Yeah.
But I guess, and then I saw Blair. Obviously, she's like gorgeous and beautiful and, top 10 and a dime piece, as the kids would say today. But I didn't want to actively start pursuing her or even consider the thought of pursuing her until after I knew that she was a Christian. And so that was off limits, and like even thinking about it was off limits until I found out that she had a heart for Jesus and a love for him, because ministry is what I'm called to do, and I want a partner that is in that with me. So and then I guess I started pursuing her, and we went out on a date, went to a corn festival in Crown Point, and then sat under the stars and talked for a while, and then after that, immediately we had to go to summer camp, and so I legitimately remember the next day I texted her. I was like, "Hey, I want to pursue you, but I have camp, and my focus needs to be on that. So everything is on pause until then." And so
Yeah, and then I didn't text back for a long time because I was like, oh, "Is this happening? The man in my dreams is texting me." And so then I didn't text back for a long time.
I was so worried.
Yeah, I worried him.
When did you
But I was
text back?
like
10 minutes later.
Oh.
Maybe 15 minutes. Yeah.
It seems like a long time in the moment when you're like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to say. Do I tell him
My
that?
palms are all sweaty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
So 1 year of marriage. What has been the best part of marriage that was unexpected, and what has been the hardest? And you can have different answers.
I think the best part for me is, first off, I'm married to my best friend. Like, that's there. And I think that goes without saying. But the best part for me is, an increased capacity for Jesus and his ministry.
Yes.
And, I wouldn't have been able to foster children and work full time and go to seminary, if I didn't have my best friend there alongside, not only helping me, but also cheering me on and encouraging me.
Yeah.
And also likewise, I want to cheer her on as she goes about nursing full time and ministering to people there, and also Blair's leading a life group, and we're both our ministry outside of the four walls of the church is to foster kids right now, and so and throughout this year, first year of our marriage, we've been able to house 4 children who didn't have a home, who needed somewhere to go. And so that's, I would say, the increased capacity for me.
Right. And I think before we met and started dating, my capacity was very small, so I could do only a little bit without being like, oh, I need a break. I need alone time.
Yeah.
And Zachary's he literally told me, either you need to keep up or we can't continue to date, because I need someone who's high capacity, who can do a lot. And that was a really important turning point for us, because I needed to step up and level up as a woman to be who he needed me to be. And I think without that push, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And so I think, our capacity together is one of my favorite things about us. And
she also used to be late all the time, and I'm never
Yes.
late. So I was like, "Look, you need to be on time." I was like, "This is stressing me out. We need to be 15 to 30 minutes early every time."
Yes.
The hardest part, I think it's the hardest part is always making sure that connection is there, that I'm pursuing her continually, because I think it's easy for us to go on autopilot. We're so busy, and for us to think okay, we are in these separate lanes, and and Blair works night, so like at a lot of ways, our schedules are like ships in the night.
Right.
But I think like the challenge has been to continually pursue, and I think that like to sort of mirror that towards our relationship with Christ. I think that's the challenge there, to continually pursue Him as well.
Right. I agree with that.
Anything
Yeah.
else?
I think no. What you said is what I would agree with. Yeah, because we have full capacities, which is awesome and great. You also have to choose each other first, and it can be hard when you're busy and you forget and you have a long list of things to do, and you're like, oh, we'll hang out later. We'll get a date later. But I think we're going in that, and I think God is redeeming us in our capacities in every area, but definitely choosing each other. Yeah.
And realizing that it's out of our relationship that all these things flow. Like first off, our relationship with Jesus, but like if it weren't for our marriage, like we need to safeguard that because it's out of our relationship with each other that all of these other things can come, and that increased capacity can come.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what has been surprising or, I don't know, hard? I know we just asked hard, but that you wish someone would have warned you or prepared you before you got married? Is there anything you're like, no one told me about this? Like, this is kind of surprising.
Yeah. I mean, I like to have fun, and so I feel like our marriage is a lot of fun, and people were like, it's going to be the worst. It's going to be hard, and like there are going to be days where you want to get like, and whatever. And I mean, sure, we're like in our first year, albeit, but like it's been fun. Like it hasn't, I mean, we go camping and stuff. I didn't like to go camping before, but Jesus changed my heart in that. But like, I feel like it's been, a lot of people were like worrying me and like saying it's going to be really, it's going to not be that great or something. But like, it's been a blast, like being married, being best friends, and doing all this stuff for Jesus together.
Yeah, I think we had really good counsel, and so we knew a lot of things to expect, but also for me, what was probably hardest going into marriage was kind of like what my expectations were personally of like my perfect home and like everything I was going to have in my home and happy children and all this stuff, and then like those expectations like are not reality. And I had to really took a lot of time in our first like 2 or 3 months of marriage to be praying and journaling about like, what are my expectations and what are the way that God is changing my expectations towards Him, and like not putting all my expectations to have like a perfect house and all of these things, and make sure that like my husband acts the way I want him to act. Like he's his own person. Like I can't control him. I can't tell him what to do. And so the godly expectations for me was huge for my first couple months of marriage. Yeah.
So how do you guys fight? Like, what do you fight for? And even in the midst of a fight, like, what are your rules for fighting?
Yeah.
Well, I normally just shut down and brood for a little bit and process, and then Blair's like, why are you mad? Why are you mad? Why are you mad? And then finally, after about 30 minutes, I'll be like, okay, this is what I'm feeling. This is, I verbalize it. I make sure that I'm like calm in it, but also it sort of my natural inclination throughout my life, and I think trained, has been like to shut down in fights or to shut down in conflict. So something that I've grown in our relationship is being able to express my feelings and being able to express hurt or whatever that is, and process it out loud with her. So
but we started this discipline of fighting well in dating, like because we didn't kiss before we were married. We needed to resolve conflict well and talk through it. And so since we talked through our conflict, I mean, we've always done that. It's been really good for us in marriage. Obviously we don't do it perfectly, but forgiving as fast as possible and not holding a grudge.
And Blair always loves to, we can't go to bed mad at each other or whatever.
No,
like,
even if we have to
she
stay up till 2 a.m.
wake me up. Like I will have gone to sleep and she's like, I'm mad at you. We need to talk about this.
Yes.
But I feel when you said that, a lot of people were probably like, wait, what? They didn't kiss till they're married? And we actually like, we made, neither of us had really like followed Jesus's precepts and been like, I would say pure prior to us giving our lives to Jesus. And we really wanted to honor Jesus with our marriage and with our relationship. So we actually chose not to kiss throughout our whole dating. And the first time we kissed was when Pastor John, like, who was marrying us, said, "You may now kiss your bride."
Yeah.
And we talk about it, like, that was we talk about it. It's like, that was it helped us with our superpower, which is communication. Like, instead of us, our natural default going to the flesh, or like, hey, we're in this argument, so we're going to, kiss and make up, like, we talk through and we process through. And so I feel like, definitely, pray about what you're going to do. It was difficult to do, but it's proved to really help our relationship, even like today, that us choosing to honor Jesus in that, like, there's wisdom in why he tells us to do these things.
Right.
I love how you call it a superpower.
Yeah.
That's so true, though.
Yeah.
So, in your opinion, like, what is the best marriage advice you've ever gotten, and what is the worst?
You want to start with the worst or the best?
The best marriage advice I've ever gotten? I don't know. We've gotten a lot of bad marriage advice. The best, I think, like, it's to pursue Jesus and pursue each other.
Yeah.
Like, our friend Molly Chickenelli gave us this book, and it's like, here are 51 little like notes from married couples who have been married for like 80 years. And so, like, every now and then we like to read it and like be like, oh, look at them, they were married for all this time. And so I think that gift has been something that's really good to us. But the worst advice we've ever gotten, like...
Yeah, I have a best, though, real quick.
Oh, what's the best?
My best was that having ungodly beliefs about my husband and changing them to godly beliefs about my husband. And we talked about this. I had this conversation with at least two. Was things that, like, I was believing about Zachary that were not true. Like, oh, he doesn't love me. He doesn't want to spend time with me. He's just too busy for me. Like, all those things that, like, you truly feel in the moment but aren't true. So changing those ungodly beliefs to, like, my husband loves me and he's for me. My husband sees me and he is going to care for me. I'm safe when I'm with my husband. All of those things that I started speaking over myself really did change how I saw you. And it was such good advice. So totally, if you have ungodly beliefs about your husband or your wife, write those down and then go to a godly person who can help you like form those into godly beliefs, because that totally helps us when we're in a fight, or he's gone at work a lot during the week, or we just have busy weeks and I'm away from him and I need to know that, like, no, like, Jesus is first and center in my life, but my husband is also, even though he's away from me, he's for me.
Right. So good. So good.
But worst advice, yes.
Worst advice. There were a lot of people who told us, hey, like, do what you want to do, and like, do what makes you happy. Like, we knew from the, like, first and foremost that, like, the reason we were getting married wasn't necessarily like we love each other and that's amazing, but, like, the reason we got married is because we believe that we are better for God's kingdom together than we are apart. And in that, we wanted to serve Jesus with our marriage. We wanted to serve Jesus with everything that we do. And so we were like, hey, we're gonna start fostering as soon as we get married. And there were so many people who were like, why would you want to do that? Why you should just be traveling and doing what you want and just do what makes you happy. And it was like, but the reminder to us was that, like, our marriage isn't about us. It's about Jesus and his kingdom and building it here on earth. And we can take that year for ourselves and be selfish or however it is, but that's not the reason that we're married, and we didn't want that to be the way that we started out our marriage.
Right.
And like, it's fostering is hard. Ministry is hard. Like, being in ministry and marriage is hard.
Living
but, like,
for Jesus is hard.
Yeah.
It's not always easy.
Yeah.
But you always say, like,
so worth it.
comfort isn't victory. And I think, like, we stand by that, and, like, our comfort isn't going to, like, further the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
Like, our first year of marriage, it could have been like, oh, comfortable and lovey-dovey and, like, all those things.
Let's go on cruise ships, which I mean, I would love to do.
Yeah, like, vacations are great.
Coronavirus
and, like,
ruined that.
Dates are great, and alone time is great, but I know, we miss our cruises, but, like, comfort isn't victory. And
that's a good word.
We speak that over ourselves, and we live by that. We try to live by that, at least.
Yeah. So last question, how do your roots remain strong in Jesus? How do you water your marriage and water your relationship with Jesus on the daily?
I think the way that Blair loves to do that is she asks questions and she's like, what did you learn today in the Bible? And, what did Jesus teach you today? Or how are you growing? And that challenges me to, make sure that, when I'm reading, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to be able to say there. Or, I'm going to, I am spending time with Jesus, but also I want to be able to share this with my wife.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a way that we've sort of, helped to spur each other on. I don't really ask that many questions. Blair's better at the questions. I'm more of like, let's go have fun.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the ways that in our marriage we have come together. But then also there are times when, we practice this thing called Lectio Divina. And so like it's where you read a passage from the Bible, a few verses, and then you spend a few minutes just silently reflecting on it. And you read it again and then spend some time reflecting on it. And then you just share with each other. And it's this like unscripted, unprompted just study of the Bible, of the Word of God, that allows the Holy Spirit to speak to your heart. And then the cool thing is that, we're reading the same two verses, but Jesus speaks to us in such vastly different ways and teaches us such great things, and we're able to communicate that with each other. And so that's been one of the practices that we've loved, doing together.
Yeah. And
That's
I think
cool.
I'm like kind of devoted to praying for favor for Zachary in every situation. So like I pray that like he would find favor in his job and his work and with God.
Yeah.
And like doing that, I think allows me to take the focus off of myself, because I can like get jealous and selfish and be like, well, why isn't it about me? And like remembering that it's also about other people, and that he would find favor with other people. And that's really changed my heart. But I think that is how we spur each other on too. Like you said, reading together, praying together. But it's also like that personal time. Like we need our personal time of devotion to Jesus before we can really love each other well, because if we don't have our time with Jesus, you can tell. Like we're like angry or just frustrated easily and expecting things that are not supposed to be expected. And it's like, okay, you know what? Like go spend your time with Jesus and come back and be a different person. And just doing that, it's like, okay, like this is good. We just need our alone time, spend time with Jesus, refocus, recenter, and then we'll get back to loving each other well.
Yes. So good. Anything that is left unsaid? Anything that you really wanted to share today that you haven't yet?
I just think the main thing is that no marriage is going to be perfect, right? It's a mirror image of Jesus and his relationship with the church, but also like it's a relationship that is here on the earth where things are not perfect. And so even though your marriage may not be perfect, even though there may be hard times and difficult times, like you have to fight for each other, and you have to fight to keep that bond strong. And even if your spouse isn't reciprocating, I just think really you need to fight to love them well, as Blair always says, and then remind them that you're always for them. And marriage is this beautiful thing that has such a great capacity. And I feel like a lot of people, we forget that we're supposed to be, one together. Jesus made us into one flesh. And so, it's, someone told me that's some good advice. It's not 50-50. It's 100-100.
That's real good.
Yeah, it's each of you bringing 100% of yourself to the table and 100% of your effort.
Right, like even if like I only bring 10% of my effort, like he's still going to bring 100% because he loves me. And also, I think real quick, the also really good advice is like use your words wisely, because like, and even in an argument, like we're quick to like snap and say things that we don't mean.
Or things that we do mean.
Right.
Yeah.
Things you do mean, but you shouldn't
say. We're like,
well,
I
want to try and hurt you right now.
I think we all do that.
You're just like your mom. That's always,
But yeah, using our words wisely. Because Zachary, like, he's really good in arguments and he can debate, but also like he uses his words to build me up and encourage and just instill like courage into me. And so I think even women are so quick too to be just like nitpicky. But when I choose to like encourage Zachary instead of like tell him all the things that he does wrong, it really changes our days. It changes like it really changes you too. Like, and changes how you like the courage that you walk into a situation with. So using our words. Yeah.
Ooh, so good. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
This was such a great conversation. I am so excited for all the people who are going to be listening and
Yeah.
learn. You said some amazing things. It's 100 and 100. That
Yeah.
was fantastic. And
Yeah.
I love what you said about praying for favor,
Yeah.
too. I mean, there's a million things I could quote right now, but everything was so good. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for just joining us and learning how to do marriage well. And thank you. And I cannot wait to catch you next time. Bye. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to follow us on our other social media platforms. We don't want you to miss out on any future content. Thank you so much again, guys. I hope you have a great day. And I want you to know I am personally praying that your roots stay strong.